Raptors point guard Delon Wright admits that he feared the worst when he hurt his shoulder last month. Having missed a large portion of time in the past due to a separated shoulder, you can't really blame Wright. It was stressful waiting to find out what the doctors would tell him. I thought I might need surgery. Wright told reporters after practice on Saturday afternoon, I was just thinking like, man, another year gone. I was just thankful I didn't have to have surgery again. Wright returned to the lineup against Brooklyn on Friday, following a month on the sidelines and didn't show much rust. Wright said he had been working hard on his conditioning and wasn't tired, despite the long layoff. Raptors head coach Dwayne Casey believes Wright adds a different dimension to the lineup and his absence helped explain some of the struggles the reserves had defensively over the past 2 weeks. We've missed that. People forget how long his arms are, Casey said, referring specifically to the deflections Wright turns into opportunities at the other end. That can really jumpstart your fast break and get your team going. Precautions required since he has now suffered a pair of shoulder dislocations early in his career. Wright indicated that he will have to take some precautions moving forward. The shoulder feels normal. I just have to be smart about certain positions I put my shoulder in, Wright told Post Media following Friday's win. Wright said he will have to avoid putting himself in certain situations that could lead to re-injury. I'd just say reaching and making sure his arm doesn't get caught. How to be cautious of how much force I use with it, he explained. Air Canada's final ACC visit. Might this be Vince Carter's final game at the ACC? In season number 19, the former Air Canada is only averaging 2.9 points a game in limited minutes and his generous $8 million contract expires at the end of the season. Carter has long said he wanted to play for 20 years though, and the Raptors had strong interest in bringing him back last summer and might again try to have him finish his career where it all began. This would be Carter's 36th appearance against Toronto, and he has averaged 16.6 points against the franchise that traded for him on draft night back in 1998. He has only played fewer games against New Jersey, Brooklyn, Dallas and Vancouver, Memphis, all franchises he had runs with after leaving Toronto. Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, Manu Ginobili and Jason Terry are the only active players drafted in the 1990s. Carter, 41 next month, is the oldest, but Casey said a young Kings group is benefiting from his wisdom. One thing about Vince Carter, he's such an intelligent player. Casey said after first saying it was scary to try to game plan against the youthful version of Carter. You put that with his athleticism back in the early 2000s and you're afraid? You worried about that back when he was a young player. He was a freak of nature with his athleticism. People forget how much of a dynamic and explosive player he was at a young age. He was far more than just a dunker. Carter's 23.4 points per game as a Raptor remains by far the best mark in franchise history. Chris Bosh at 20.2, Damon Stoudemire at 19.6, DeMar DeRozan at 19.5 and Kyle Lowry at 18.0 round out the top 5. Practice when you can. Casey said that the team's busy, road-heavy schedule has made it difficult to have as many practices as he would like, so he made the most of the session on Saturday. The team won't hold the shoot-around because Sunday's game is a matinee. We have to make sure we get quality time on the court as much as possible, Casey said. Forward CJ Miles went through a practice after missing Friday's game due to shoulder tendonitis. CJ's medication kicked in, so he's good to go, Casey said. Around the rim. Toronto is an NBA best 101 at home. Why is that? Norman Powell. I think guys are very comfortable here. We are locked in. We all talk about not letting nobody get one on us at home, Powell said. Powell added that he and his teammates don't even glance at the standings at this point. We know that we're a top team in the East. We're not looking at it game by game, he said. Despite Boston's torrid start, Toronto has remained within striking distance.